What's up? It's Jobringus, your favorite inefficient reg. Damn, gearing up to fight some more moss giants. I would like to bring some variety to the backgrounds. I know I've done a video at Mossy's before, and the last one was at Hill Giants earlier this month. I'm at 89 Mossy Keys, which means I'd like to get just 22 more. Only 19 giant keys. That's still going to take me a while. That should be about 92 more. And this is how my typical inventory looks. I keep kind of placeholders for a lot of the stackable runes I pick up. Actually, I don't remember if I'm supposed to have water runes or not. Let me check that before I leave. Anyways, actually I think there was something else I wanted to show in the bank before I head off on this journey anyway. Yeah, I don't need a placeholder for water rune. What am I doing? Okay. And I'm going to take one more sortie. Yes, because I'm going to finish this strength potion right away. Right, bank. So I would be done with the Mossy Keys by now, almost certainly, except I took a pretty long break to do some smithing. Addy Bars got sufficiently cheap, and again, when that happens, I kind of just have to go and smith what I can. I've already alked through quite a few plate bodies. You can see I have 10,500 Addy Bars left, and basically no cash stack. And these plate bodies, hopefully bars will stay in the low 1900s for a while. After I finish this video, I'm probably going to go right back to smithing, but I didn't want to do that since it's been so recently that I had an update video of me just smithing. And the stats, couple total levels gained, 7 total levels. In fact, I actually was looking at old screenshots, and 1 year ago today, March 31st, 2022, I had gained 100 total levels since. That's pretty neat. A few less than I would have liked, but again, there were a couple stretches in there where I just barely played at all, so that's excusable. As I said, I was going to get some strength levels since. I went from 83 to 85, and I'm actually not that far to 86. Gained a hit points level as well, and I'm not that far from 85. I mean, definitely further than the strength, but in the scheme of things, not that far. Smithing level, that's a big gain. And in fact, as you can see from the bars, I have 95 banked. I think I was at like the beginning of 93, maybe the halfway mark previously, but I think it was close to the beginning. So that's been probably about 1 million smithing experience that I've gained. Sounds about right. And let's see, I think something else snuck in there. Oh yeah, also emeralds got really cheap at some point for like no reason. I was able to cut emeralds for a profit one night. So I cut 10,000 of those. That didn't take me very long. And so that was like a full crafting level. I'm like halfway to the next one. And other than that, I don't think there's much. Did I gain a prayer level? I did gain a prayer level. I'm not like horribly far from. Well, actually, that's a lie. I'm still most of the way far from the next one. About 2/3 or like 1/3 of the way through, if even, maybe 25% of the way through. And I guess I gained a magic level as well, which must have been from alching or something. It usually is. It's typically what it is. So pretty good games. Pretty happy with that. And I don't remember what's like the total experience I had before, but I know I gained like a couple million experience this month, which is good for me. And still hunting those Mossy Keys. I'm not like super efficient about it. Okay, so about 26% through this level. I'm not super efficient about it. That's why I'm your favorite inefficient reg. But it's it's honest work. I probably get something like 3 Mossy Keys an hour on average. It's tough for me to estimate. I don't track it like super carefully, but based on kind of like the experience rates I get and how long it takes me to bank, that sounds about right. I went a long time without getting like ragged here at all, and then there were some stretches where I would get attacked a bunch, which was annoying. So you can witness my bad clicks. I try and do this in a pretty lax way for myself. I'm not like obsessed with hitting, you know, every single like 4 tick scimitar cycle. I just don't mind. Just helps me relax. You know, I just click. Ooh, Mossy Key. There we go. That's good news. Only 21 left. Yeah, for those who did not watch last month's update, the reason I want 111 Mossy Keys and Giant Keys is because the drop rate for the unique is 1 in 118, but Obor and Bryophyta both respectively have like a 1 in 16 chance of dropping their own key. So you'd expect to need about 111 keys in order to get their unique, which would be really cool. I mean, Bryophyta's essence actually is, you know, pretty sweet cash if I get it, but it's, you know, I don't like need, I could just buy one. And a Hill Giant Club is not even that expensive. I want to say like 300K, you know, maybe it's a little more, maybe it's a little less, but it's not like terribly expensive, but it would be cool to get like the collection log slot. So I'm still not sure if I'll go for the actual like bosses right away after getting the keys. I've talked about that, but I think I might. You know, that'll give me a break for clues. Um, Someone pointed out that like the clue helper is integrated with the official client. I think that's only true on mobile, and maybe I'll switch to like RuneLite for the clue helper when I'm doing these. But honestly, there's not even that many steps to memorize. I think I think I'll just be able to like learn them and memorize them myself, honestly. Um, you know, beginner clues are like, I'm not even sure if they can get up to 4 steps. Maybe they can get to 4 steps, but they're typically like 2 to 3. I don't know if they can be just 1 step. Maybe even they can be 1 step because they're so like easy. And there's only maybe like 30 possible things that they have you do. So some of which are like very easy to memorize. And like the hot and cold is the toughest part. But again, that's like you could just sort of build a flow chart. Like that wouldn't be hard for me to do. I would just have to build myself a flow chart and then, you know, call it a day. So I could definitely get some clues done pretty fast. Um, by the end of this month, I hope, or well, April starts tomorrow, but by the end of April, I would hope to, you know, be done with my key collecting goal. I think there's relatively few things that would distract me. You know, if something happened where like uncut gems were for some reason extremely cheap, then um, I might succumb to, you know, cutting those for however much crafting experience I can. But it's not, I don't like really foresee that as being too likely. So, you know, we'll see. Uncut gems market typically a lot more stable than like Addy bars. And Addy bars, I'm gonna keep like smithing. Basically, after this trip ends, I'm gonna go back to smithing and alching. I looked at selling my bars to, or my plate bodies to, like in World 308, because that's like where all the alkers hang out. And I think right now the price is like a little lower than I'd like. I mean, it's still, you know, I'd still be making profit from the smithing, and but like if I look at how much money I'd make if I just alch them myself, it's pretty good money to alch them myself. So I think I'm gonna keep doing that. Um, After all, I gotta train my magic at some point, some way. You know, it's like alching is extremely boring, but it is also like something I can do without really focusing on anything else. So it's easy to squeeze in there. I mean, like basically every month update video I've had, it's like I sneak in some magic level because I like alched for it. And I guess I could look at how many more, you know, like teleports I'm going to need for if I were to max out rune crafting, right? I think I can stop alching at some level, but also like if you look at the ratio of magic to smithing experience, it's basically like 1 to 5. So, so like, you know, I'm gonna, if I go to 99 smithing, that's another about 5 million experience away, and then I'll get like a million ish magic experience. It's like I won't even quite hit 90 magic. Maybe I like just will. And then I might end up doing some alching of like rune two-handers and stuff for money to accumulate for prayer. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, see how that all goes. The other thing I'm going to throw in there but not elaborate on too much. I know there wasn't a Jobringus update for the past 2 months. I mean, in February, I just like didn't play the account like at all, basically. Um, and I said that last update video. But I've been playing it again recently. I could have made a, you know, I could make an update video and release it like kind of at the same time, but it's like, I'll just wait for the middle of April and throw that out there. Especially since I might be able to get some, should be able to get some better gains. You know, got a lot of progress that I'm pretty excited about on that. So, um, you know, no further comment on Jobringus. Right now, I am not playing on both accounts, but it's relatively easy. Like Mossy's is an activity where I can play both accounts, and like a lot of activities, I can play both accounts. So I've definitely found the time to squeeze it in there. Um, you know, I think I'd already elaborated pretty heavily on what I'm going to do, you know, with prayer and stuff like that. And um, again, it's like every month that I do something else, I'm like just delaying prayer. But I probably will go for it after. Um, Maybe I shouldn't say that. I think I probably should wait till like 99 smithing till I really start just doing like scatterberry. I have accumulated a decent amount of bones and ashes though, so I'm slowly banking those up until I have enough for 80 basically. And the rest of this grind should still get me to something like mid 72, maybe even 73 with how many hill giants I'm gonna have to kill. So, so you know that's a pretty non-trivial amount of giants. Um, yeah, actually, I think it should get me to about 73, right around, maybe just below. So I'm probably going to like go for the 90 fire making with bones. And I did do the math on like how much do I have to value my time to use bones or ashes while doing the fire making. I think I should go with bones. And then just like scatterbury the rest. Berry? Um, but anything's liable to be sidetracked with like again Addy bars. I'm kind of excited to eventually be done with smithing. I think there's like not a bad chance that I end up getting 99 in the next you know month or two. Again, especially like I've been able to get between like 200 to 500k smithing XP a day the past 3 or 4 days. Um, so there's a good chance that like again it's really only going to take like 2 more weeks of prices being where they are and I can just finish up 99, and I could do it faster if I were um, using like energy restores and um, or like alching while I go, which is what I do if I'm focusing on just one account. But if I'm playing Jobringus on the side, then I'm not going to sweat it. I do actually find that to be like, I don't know, surprisingly focus intensive to have to like juggle energy restores with my smithing. I don't particularly enjoy it, and I'll tolerate a lower rate if I feel like I'm, to just hunker down and enjoy a calm evening. So that's basically where things stand. I think we're at about 15 minutes of a grind. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I do have to say. I wonder if there will be a point where I have to start measuring my goals and gains in like XP. I guess I could do it in EHP. That's a good idea. Let's see. I should have that pulled up. I think I can look at my past month. My past month, it says I've gained about almost 18 EHP on free to play wiki, which is maybe less than I'd have expected. But then again, the EHP rate for a lot of things is like really high. You know, all the prayer I've accumulated just from burying big bones. It's like, oh, that's like 1 HP. Like, smithing assumes, you know, going faster than I am. And then strength especially, it's like the EHP rate is like using Castle Wars alts to like do extra damage and you know, here I am just like fighting moss giants and I have to bank, and so I've only gained about 10 strength EHP, but that's about 750,000 experience, which for the amount of time I actually put in, you know, that's probably was closer to like 20 to 30 hours. Um, so it's oh, hello, come back. Yeah, probably something like 20 hours. Um, so it's a slow grind. I mean, I've basically earned below AHP on like every method I do, because like some of them I'm cheap, some of them I'm lazy, and some of them I just like don't use alts. So it's a slow grind, but I think. Oh, hello, goodies. Oh, that's something. Um, you know, eventually I'll crawl my way over to 500, and that'll be pretty neat. Knowing my luck, some new method will get discovered, and my total EHP will plummet again. But what can you do? I'm just sitting in here playing the game, and you know, enjoying it, having fun. Um, Again, I'm really glad I thought of like, oh, let's collect keys for the bosses, because that's, I don't know, a lot of it brings a lot of like variety to what I do, and there's like actually a drop I get to be excited about. You know, even when I'm like ranging ogresses, for example, like there's nothing I get too excited about. I think I've gotten like 2 shaman masks, and at the end of the day, you look and it's like, oh, I know that's like a cosmetic and it might be, I don't know if it's a collection log item, but it's like, oh, this thing is worthless. So it's like rune items are alright because they're just money, but you know, ogresses are just like a stream of money, and it's not particularly like exciting for me to fight them. I think if I were an Iron Man, I would probably think of it differently, because I think like every drop of law runes and nature runes would feel rewarding in its own way. And for me, it's like I have like 60,000 nature runes because I just buy them when they're cheap. Um, so you know, it's it's like nothing to me. Which it's nice to feel like there's some degree of like satisfaction to actually doing something on your own in as a reg. You know, that is the one thing. It's like such like a, if you really want to push it, it's such an optimized game mode. But you know, I'm doing it what I can. It's like definitely I don't like care too much for like the Iron Man requirement. I mean, Jobringus is like a heavily restricted account. I guess I just don't care about like playing an account that's like a medium level of restriction. Maybe as pay to play, I would find that more satisfying, because I think there's a lot more like progression you can achieve in some of those like skills, or like bossing. You know, like there's so many gear upgrades that are worth getting from bosses and quests, whereas with free to play, the questing basically ends at Dragon Slayer. So, you know, like the like famous free to play Iron Man grind is of course like 89 smithing, so you can like make your own rune scimitar. Um, or is it? Yeah, I think that's scimitar. So it's like, and that's just like 1,000 hours of mining or whatever. Maybe not 1,000. But it's still a lot of hours of mining and smithing. It's like a few hundred. So, you know, that's kind of like my general thoughts and opinions. I think that I probably am still on pace for my yearly goals of trying to get base 90s. Um, you know, even if I miss base 90s by a little bit when really things come down to it, but I, you know, for example, finished out like 99 smithing and maybe crafting or something, I'm not going to be upset, um, as long as it's like the time went somewhere. You know, again, like my efficient hours might not be that high, but there's still sort of like Jobringus hours that I have to max, like inefficient hours. So as long as I'm putting those in some capacity, it's still progress for me. And um, yeah, everything like, it's at the point where everything on this account is just like a long grind. Um, ooh, second Mossy Key. There we go. That's big. So like, it's nice to. It'll be nice to get some variety again. I mean, I even estimated last month that even if I played a lot, I wasn't sure if I could actually complete like all this key collection in the course of a month. I mean, I would be if I didn't get derailed by smithing being opportune. I would be probably at Hill Giants right now for a second video in a row and going up. I guess some things don't change, but I got a lot of Mossy Keys off screen. Aren't you proud? So it's hopefully this next month I won't make the video from Hill Giants. Maybe I'll make it from like Obor or Bryophyta. And maybe even because I do like to keep some variety in the videos, maybe even if I still need the Hill Giant keys, um, maybe I'll just be like fighting Bryophyta anyway. That'd be kind of neat. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll be doing something. And hopefully, like, it's been a long time since I've trained gathering skills on one of these videos. In fact, I don't know if I've ever filmed me training like woodcutting or fishing in one of these episodes. So that's probably what I'll get to at some future point in time. I know I did mining once, and I probably, inevitably will at some point train mining on camera again, but I really don't enjoy it. Um, Unless I like finally learn like a tick manipulation method that works for me. I tried like leather once and the clicks were too awkward for me. I know there is some snow method that's like not too bad. Um, so I might give that a shot. But like mining, I really, really prefer to do on mobile. It's much more comfortable for me. Um, I get to just like lie down and sort of get into almost a trance-like state of just there's a real rhythm to it. I think most people who train the same skill for like a few hours in a row understand what I mean. Um, and you're really like truly just doing the same clicks over and over again, and you could stay there as long as you want. Um, I don't maybe like once or twice I would get crashed, but I would usually be on a better rhythm than just whoever else came, so they would eventually give up. Um, and there were a few people who actually would just like pick my iron off the ground, which, hey, go ahead, it's free money. I'm not gonna bank it. It's like just quite doesn't make sense to bank it, but if if it were more money, maybe it would, or if it were closer to a bank, but it's not, and so I don't bank it. And that's fine because then I would just probably like take too much longer. It's one of those things where it's like when I bank loot, like me stacking up these runes and grabbing like different rune piles is one of those things, or like picking up these like steel bars is one of those things where it's like I'm so like incrementally making money, um, and I like don't see the payoff off it for such like a long time, but just like eventually the end game will just be like how do I fund 99 prayer, and the answer is going to be like all this money I've accumulated will have like chipped away at it slowly. Like it'll end up saving me hours towards, making like rune two-handers or alking things for a juicy margin. Um, so it'll all like be beneficial in the long run, but it really is um, yeah, it really is for like the long haul of like again like I don't even know if I can get 90 prayer by the end of this year. I would be happy with like base 90s and then like 80 prayer, you know. Um, but if we get there, I mean again that end game it's like it's not even that many hours because Scatterberry is like over 100k an hour. Your clicks do not have to be particularly good to get 100K an hour. I think the perfect hour, the theoretically perfect hour should be 120K if my math's right. That sounds right. And that's like not gonna happen. I think EHP had it at something like 115 maybe. Um, no, EHP has it as 105. Am I off? Should it actually be like 110 as the perfect hour? Um, it doesn't really matter. The point is that yeah, getting like a perfect hour, and I think people have gotten somewhere around like 110K in like their best hours. The reason you could technically have like a perfect hour, and I want to say the best hour is maybe one big bone off perfect back before vile ashes were a thing. It's like because you can unnote a stack of big bones on like a chest, and if your connection's good, your ping is low, and your clicks are perfect, then you can do like 0 time banking on it. Because it's like 2 ticks between every berry. So you so you could get, you know, if you were super sweaty about it, you could get over 44,000 experience an hour. Um, and that's like not going to be possible with Scatterberry. I think maybe there's some way to like finagle the banking if you have both of them. Uh, like maybe there is some way to finagle it, but I'm suspicious of that. I could like envision it, and it's again, it's not something I'm gonna try. Like the way I do it is, I don't even try to. When I would do it on mobile, I wouldn't do it with like both items in the same tick. I would do it in a way such that like I would basically just alternate ticks of each item. So I would like bury then scatter, then bury then scatter. And the rhythm for that is much more like attainable for me than trying to get both in on the same like tick, which technically is like a tiny bit faster, you know, per inventory. But it's like I just don't care. It's you gotta sometimes just do what you can actually maintain, because if it's like horrible to train even like an hour of some method, it's like, well, then is it a viable method? You know, who's to say? Where was I going with this? Yeah, so anyway, the point is that it's like 100K XP an hour. So like at some point the end game is going to be 100 hours of Scatterberry, and that's going to be both not very fun and also very expensive. It is so like funny and absurd how like difficult 99 prayer and free to play is. Even with Vile Ashes, it went from being like a ridiculous grind and skill to just simply being like expensive. Um, and it's still kind of crazy, but I mean, a Vile Ash has sped it up so much, it's like not even funny. So, anyways, I think that's all I've got for this ramble. It's a good, nice, almost half hour. Hopefully, you can enjoy my voice for some weekend grinds. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks with a Jobringus update for real.